Okay, guys, we're doing a quick review. Again, this is a review because we've already done this stuff for like 2 weeks. This is a review. You're going to watch this, and then you're going to take the quizzes. Your quizzes are going to be two different kinds. The first kind is going to be simply in front of the x squared, there will be no number. Okay, it'll be something like x squared plus 2x plus 1. There's guaranteed no GCF there. Okay, so there's no GCF, so you don't have to worry about that. Okay, the only ones we're going to worry about a GCF on is the ones where there's a number in front of x squared, and then sometimes there is, sometimes there isn't. Okay, looking at our first example, we're going to check to see if there's a GCF. Okay, we're going to check all the numbers. Okay, we're going to start with the smallest one, which is 4. Does 4 go into each of these? Okay, that's the first thing I'm going to check is the largest one. 4 times 8 is 32. 4 times 6 is 24. So yeah, that 4 goes into all of them. That tells me to put the 4 down at the bottom. And then I'm going to write the problem out with the 4 divided out. I'm no longer going to care about the 4. I'm simply going to do my diamond problem using the things inside the parentheses. Remember, the x squared and the 8 go inside there. The top of the diamond problem comes from the two ends, meaning I'm going to take this right here and this right here and make the top. And the bottom comes from the middle term, which is -6. Okay, I'm going to think about the numbers that multiply together to equal 8, make a list if I have to, and I get -4 and -2. From there, I fill out the outside. A lot of you guys just put whatever numbers are on the inside on the outside. You can't do that. You have to think, if this is x, what would this, and this is -2, I need a -2 for it to make sense. And a -4 up there. You have to go through that process. It's no big deal on this one. Sure, it is the one that's straight outside there, but not on the other ones. Okay, now we're going to see how we're going to punch that into the computer. What you would do is you would take this 4. If there is a GCF, it goes out there. Then I look at these two numbers, -2 and -4. Whichever one's bigger is going to go on the left side. 2 is actually bigger than 4 because it's -2 is a larger number than -4. And then I move on. That's it. Okay, the next example here, I'm going to check for a GCF. I'm going to ask myself, what goes into 2, 7, and 6? The answer is nothing. If nothing goes in and there's no GCF, then I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to solve the problem. That means there's nothing outside the parentheses. 2 and 6 go inside. 12 goes on the top because of 2 times 6, and 7 on the bottom. I think about the numbers that make sense there, and I put it's 3 and 4. And this is where you got to be careful. This is where you guys want to go ahead and just randomly put a 2 somewhere, and then just throw a 3 and a 4 outside. That doesn't make sense. Look at 3 times 4. Is that 6? No, it's 12. Those are not the right numbers. Okay, what we need to do is we need to think, where does the 2x go? Okay, could 2x go here? The answer is no, because it doesn't go into 3. That means it must go there. Then the rest of it's pretty simple. I think, what do I multiply by 2 to get 4? 2. What do I multiply by x to get 3x? 3. What I want you to do is, before you go ahead and solve this problem, take these two numbers and double check that they multiply together to equal that one. If you do that, you shouldn't make this mistake, in addition to multiplying the diagonals and checking to make sure they're equal. I write in the parentheses, and I go ahead and solve the problem. Now, because there is nothing on the outside here, that means nothing goes inside there. They just stay blank. Otherwise, all I'm doing is I'm looking at the number, not the x, and I'm writing those things with the bigger one on the left side. Okay? Looking at a third example, first thing I'm going to do is check, does 6 go in? To all 3. Well, 6 doesn't go into 10. Okay, so that's not going to work. How about 3? Nope, 3 doesn't go into 10. How about 2? Yep, 2 works. So now I'm going to bring the 2 down to the bottom. I'm going to divide each piece by 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3. 28 divided by 2 is 14. And -10 divided by 2 is -5. I put the appropriate pieces inside the rectangle, multiply those same two things for the top, and the middle goes down to the bottom. This ends up being +15 and -1. And again, I need to think to myself, which one would make sense for the 3x? Would it go into 1 or would it go into 15? Obviously, it goes into 15. Okay, now I'm going to think, that must be x. That would have to be 5. And that would have to be -1. Okay, mainly this piece right here, because 3 times 5 is what gives you 15. Double check, does this one times that one equal -5? Yes. So we should be good to go. fill in the inside. Now when we're filling it out on here, remember this 2 on the outside means a 2 right there. I take the bigger of these two numbers on the left side, and on the right side, I simply put the other factor. The last example we're going to look at is one that has no middle term. I still check for a GCF, and the smaller number is 4, so I'm going to check if 4 goes in. Sure, 4 goes into both of those. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write the 4 down at the bottom, but when I do my division, I'm going to put the 0 in the middle. Okay, that just helps me when I do my diamond problem, because now I have something to put on the bottom. So inside, I'm going to put the 4 and the negative 1. Those get multiplied together for the top. In addition to that, 0 goes in the bottom. That makes it a lot easier. Now I know it's 2 and negative 2, and I can finish the problem. Okay, it's got to be 2 on both sides because that's the only thing that goes into 2 is 2. 4 won't work. Now I'm going to get a positive 1 and a negative 1, double checking that 1 times negative 1 is the bottom right hand corner, which it is. I've now got my factors. Okay, looking at the problem. Okay, I've got a 1 and a negative 1, so 1 is going to be larger. So 4 is going to go on the outside, 2x plus 1, and 2x minus 1. Now what I did, if you notice, is every single time the larger one was already on the left side, so when you go to write your factors on your paper, you could also just do that. Okay, so what I want you guys to do is you're going to now do the 2 quizzes that are below. That's a very short video, and there was no time to pause, so you should have plenty of time to finish the quizzes. You're going to have 2 quizzes to do. Like I said, quiz 1, which is standard 42 on the paper, on the quiz below. On that one, every problem is just going to be an x squared problem. So you might have x squared plus 10x plus 7x plus 10, something like that. All your job is to do is simply figure out the 2 factors. You can do that sometimes without even needing the paper. But at the very least, you can use the rectangle and diamond problem that I've provided you. The second one, 43, that's the one where the number is in front. You're going to need to check, is it a GCF or is that just part of the answer, and solve it accordingly. Number 5 is going to have a little bit of a twist, but to be honest, in this particular one, there are things we've even practiced in class. So good luck on the quiz, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.